Hello. I have a brownie stuffed in my mouth right now. And also an annoying cat sitting on my lap. Aren't you? Aren't you, buddy? Very annoying. Also an annoying cat. Let's see. Well, that audio sounds bad. Why does the audio sound so bad? Lower it, maybe? Maybe? Nope. Did it decide to switch sources? No. Well, until I figure this out, you'll just have to enjoy my beautiful Citadel backdrop. We'll get this eventually. I think that might be the problem. I think that also requires me to restart the stream, so that's what we'll do. Okay, hopefully this is working. If not, we'll just have to live with it. Sounds wonky still. Still very wonky. It's kind of annoying. Oh well. Do the usual startup nonsense here. Oh, wonderful. The Game Awards. Oh, you know what? I'm okay with that then. I will take the 800 Prima Gems. Apologies for 1 second here. My cat is an absolute pest. Love him. Come here. Come here. Goof. I laugh at the Game Awards because, well, you kind of have to laugh at them to get through watching them. I'll lower myself even more, I guess, and hope that it sounds like I'm peaking, but it's like definitely not peaking on what I'm seeing here. This is as low as I'm willing to put it. I mean, I know I should definitely not just be using my headset mic all the time for this, but I'm also... It's also annoying to set up my regular mic and then the extra programs to make it sound nice. Come on, wake up. Oh, you showed me. I know she's pretty darn effective against this thing. She's using her. I really wish Genshin Impact wouldn't constantly minimize when I... But yeah, the Game Awards, they were something to watch for far too many hours. I don't really care about the awards as much as whatever they show off, at least trailer-wise and whatnot. Which there were cool things. That they started off with the there was a new Perfect Dark, which okay, yeah, sure. I don't think I ever played the 360 one, but I remember liking the N64 Perfect Dark. I didn't catch you as developers on that. I assume it's not rare. But I know like Rare's still technically in the Microsoft developer, wheelhouse there, but then there was the not Left 4 Dead. Was it Back 4 Blood, which is clearly Turtle Rock, who were the developers of the original like Left 4 Dead 2 games, and then they went on to do what was that big monster one called? Evolve, yeah. So I guess they just couldn't secure the name rights for Left 4 Dead, so like, we'll just put a 4 in it still, and people will know if we throw zombies next to all that. And then there was the not Dead Space game, which was a little more subtle in its not Dead Spaces than Back 4 Blood was with its not Left 4 Deadness. Not at least like it didn't have the same exact like aesthetic across the board. A name that was, I forget the name of it, is a kind of a weird long name. But like little things like on the back of the character's neck was what looked like what could be like a health bar or something, just like in Dead Space, or on the back of Isaac's suit. It kind of had his like a natural sort of UI, an in-world UI, which was cool. The weird thing about that game though, seeing that it's set in the PUBG universe. Because it is being made by, I think it's Glenn Schofield is the director on it, from a new studio. I don't remember the name of the studio either. But Schofield was one of the higher-ups at, gosh, I don't remember the Dead Space developer names, but one of the higher-ups there before they went put under EA's rule. And I'm all for more Dead Space if they get to make it like they always kind of wanted to, but just maybe whatever new take they have on it. Because 1 and 2 were good, and 3 was a game that clearly got made because, in a way that it did, because they were told you need to sell, was it like 3 million, 5 million, I think, copies within like a month for it to be deemed profitable or worth EA's time. So that game ended up being like way, way more action-y, and in a lot of unpleasant ways. Yeah, set in the PUBG universe, which I'm a big PUBG player. I have like well over 1,000 hours into that game, but I know they've been like, there's been talks and they've shown off like a tease, I think last year at the Game Awards, for what they were calling like the single player PUBG experience. But this is like a sci-fi horror game, which is not exactly like PUBG. Now I'm zoning out here and getting worked. Okay. Oh, it's that thing. Those are annoying. I should... Alright, buddy. Yeah, I'm kind of curious as to what even the PUBG universe means. 'Cause, like, there's always been, like, at least some loose stuff there. Like, really, really loose. And a lot of stuff that, like, the fans and weirdos like myself could fill in on. Level 28. I think I need to reach level 29 to do next storyline quest, right? Yeah. Yeah. Yes, you may leave. So yeah, the Game Awards started off with like two interesting things. Like a Perfect Dark's okay, whatever, but like the new Left 4 Dead and the new Dead Space by other names. I like both of those things quite a bit. Even if there was like, I don't know, they showed a good amount of gameplay for that Left 4 Dead. Back 4 Blood. But the not Dead Space had, pretty sure that was all just CG, might not even been in engine. Of course, they started off with good old Sephiroth, which I'm probably, this is probably like the one area in discussion of games and like what should games do with their future, like specific franchises, what should they go after and like strive towards. The one area that I'm probably a grandpa about to some degree, and that, like, I think about the characters that I enjoyed in when I was playing Melee as a kid, and it wasn't, I liked Link, like I loved The Legend of Zelda, so I liked playing as Link, obviously, but like the characters that really made me fascinated, characters that like made me go and read the descriptions on the trophies you would earn over and over, were always like the weird offshoot characters that like maybe have never been in a game in the West before, or like barely have been. They don't have a lot of standing in the West. Like the Fire Emblem character is like a big obvious one. Like Fire Emblem wouldn't be a thing here in the West if not for Smash. And I was one of those people that actually like really wanted to play that series solely because of the cool characters in Smash. So I see when like they put people in like Sephiroth and it's just like, we have Cloud. So I get why you put his enemy in now, or his rival. Okay. I know I'm not like coming across this very well. I'm handling these fights very poorly, partly because I'm not thinking too much about it. But yeah, Sephiroth is fine. Like, it's another sword boy too, so, and a lot of sword users in Smash. So the one thing I will say is that at the very least, like even when I haven't been super excited for the characters in Ultimate, they always do a good job, like mechanically, of like trying to think of interesting ways to like, okay, how do we actually implement things from the the source material in here. Personally, I would rather have picks like, my general rules of thumb with Smash picks is like, I want them to have a history with Nintendo, like a genuine history with Nintendo. I don't like characters like when people talk about Crash. Like, Crash is a lame pick, especially people like Doom Guy, even though I know there's a Doom 64, but like, it's not really something you think Nintendo when you see it. And that's not to say there aren't already characters in there that you don't really necessarily think Nintendo when you see them, like obviously Minecraft Steve is not a inherently Nintendo thing, technically a Microsoft property, but at the very least, like that's just such a huge property that's like super popular among kids. So I know why Nintendo goes for it, and it's like a goofy, semi-cartoonish thing to it. And like has a unique vibe as compared to like, yeah, Fortnite's super popular among kids too, but I think all the character models in there would look really boring. Minecraft Steve, while I don't think it's like the best model that they have included, is at least like he stands out on that roster. But yeah, generally prefer to have it be history with Nintendo, or something like they can use to help like promote smaller series. Like I would like Travis Touchdown to be in there. I've never even played in No More Heroes, but I think he's an interesting looking character from like a fun looking series that has a history with Nintendo, and they also have No More Heroes 3 coming out on Switch, supposed to be 2021. Oh, these bastards. And I like weird old picks too. Like I like the weird pulls of like a Terry Bogard. Or personally I would like a Ryu Hayabusa from Ninja Gaiden. Just because that's a series that I played a crap ton as a kid. Like that original NES Ninja Gaiden is like, oh, that opening cutscene to the original Ninja Gaiden is burned in my head. But whatever, Sephiroth is fine. Like he's not a terrible pick at least. I can live with him as compared to like if they were to put in like whatever we would call the Fortnite character, or Doom Guy, or Master Chief, or Crash. No, thank you. At least with someone like Sonic, as compared to Crash, like there's a longer rivalry there, and it was at least pretty darn funny to just think like, yeah, Sonic games have just been a Nintendo thing for the last like decade or so, by the time they put him in Smash. See, what else was there at the good old Game Awards? Besides having to pay any attention to the awards themselves, there was that weird looking Vin Diesel. Which it would have at least been interesting if that was like a Turok game and like people would have been like, oh, okay, yeah, like I'll play a new Turok. But it was Ark, and like if you're not into Ark, I can't imagine you're gonna even play for like the goofs now. Because I would have liked to seen people just play that weird-looking Vin Diesel, like that, all the animation in that, and all the, like a lot of the modeling just looked so bad. And apparently that's just like a thing for Ark, because like the animation looks bad. Like I've only played maybe like a half an hour of it, like, because it was like on PS Plus one time or something. It is not a thing that I'm interested in. Like, Ark is not a game that's for me whatsoever. Crimson Desert looks... for whatever reason I was thinking that was like an expansion to Black Desert, but it's not, right? Because Black Desert's like a big South Korean MMO, if I'm not mistaken. And it has a very similar look. But this wasn't an expansion for that, it was supposed to be like a single player game, right? And not from the same developers. But it looked cool, like it definitely seemed like... at the very least, like, it's a game that looked like it had like a lot of like interesting scale to it, like flying around on the back of a dragon as it's, you know, trying to kill you is interesting. The awards themselves, though... the awards themselves make me... Yeah, I got like a little bit of Dragon's Dogma from it, which I would love a Dragon's Dogma too. I mean, I assume it's probably coming. There was talks about it when they were doing DMC5, like the director is the same person between those two series, and then I think the talk was like that Capcom higher-ups essentially told them like, hey, make one of these two games that you want to make now, and then just, you know, go do the other one later, as long as this one performs well. And the MC5 did well, so it's probably safe to assume they're doing a Dragon's Dogma 2 at some point. I mean, they were willing to do the anime, which is... that was a bad anime, but... at least it shows that Capcom has interest in the franchise. And Capcom's been doing well financially and just with bringing series back the last 4 years now, so maybe they're willing to like just take that risk. Like, hey, you earned it, go make Dragon's Dogma 2 and not online. Because online has like never even been rumored to come out of Japan, if I remember correctly. As far as like the awards themselves go, like they're a popularity contest and there's a bunch of problems with just like the basic format of them and how by virtue of it largely being made up of like the jury that decides on the nominees and everything is largely traditional games press who, the culture there with them is that they got to play all the big new games because that's what they have to talk about, because that's what they're, that's what drives the views, and it's not always like, them so cynically only doing it for views. A lot of them probably also want to play things like The Last of Us and whatnot, and Ghost of Tsushima. But I do think it ends up like drowning out more interesting like titles. Like the big thing Keighley always says, like it's a night of celebrating the medium of games, but then when we see like a homogenized list of a lot of big AAA things, and then like an indie or two like Hades, it ends up like not actually feeling like a celebration, as much as it just feels like them pulling awards over games that have had a lot of bad press for good reasons. Like the fact that Last of Us 2, it annoys the ever-living shit out of me that that game raked up the awards, not because I think it's a bad game and I think people are bad for having a different opinion than me. I think it's fine. But I think that game was made under, like, we know the conditions it was made under are pretty awful, as is with a lot of AAA games. So like having this big, like the biggest award ceremony, like the biggest ceremony of like praise, like critical sort of thought, like even if it's not exactly great stuff, it's still the biggest press night for a lot of these titles. And be like, oh yeah, good job, Naughty Dog, way to just overwork your people, and don't worry about it, you're not only a financial success, but now you're a critical one too, so... Because if I'm the higher-ups there, I hear that, I'm like, okay, well, why do I need to change anything? Now, the one thing, I know they also won accessibility, which that's not something that I have to, like, deal with. I don't have any sort of issues that would cause me to need those sorts of features, but from everybody who like actually does, or people who are more knowledgeable about that stuff, it seems like they did a legitimately good job with the accessibility on that game. Me just looking at it, there was a lot of options in there, so like sure, that I can believe it. I know, I think Steven Spawn, who runs Able Gamers, it's like a big, they worked with like Xbox on their accessibility controller like a year or two ago. I know he was like, yeah, they did a really good job on The Last of Us 2 with this stuff, if I remember correctly. So I'll take his word over anybody else's for that stuff. But seeing them like rake up a bunch of awards in general just feels like a failure on the press's part, because Yeah, Last of Us getting Game of the Year is just, it's like it feels like such a failure on the press's part, because I know, like, there's probably people who were on the jury that was deciding nominees, who were, sending in the votes to decide the winners too, that felt like, no, you can't possibly vote for a game like The Last of Us or any of these other games that have had big issues with, workplace culture, whether it be Ubisoft's like just generally awful sounding place to work on top of things like crunch, or The Last of Us that has also had some publicized issues in the last few years, or not only around crunch but harassment and whatnot in the workplace. And it just feels weird to have this big night celebrating them without any sort of caveat. Because I'm fine with people, if someone wants to legitimately say The Last of Us 2 is my favorite game of the year, fine, that is your opinion to have. I don't agree with it, but I can totally see why that game means a lot to some people. There's some really great things about The Last of Us 2. But I think if you're going to have that conversation, you owe it to the people who worked on the game to also have the conversation about just the numerous accusations and numerous people who've since have left the studio in the last few years saying yeah, working there has been hell. That stuff is it's frustrating because there's a lot of reasons to criticize game journalism, and the ways that it usually gets criticized by the general public are not the ways that it needs to be criticized. I'm not really that concerned that people are getting paid off. I just don't think that's a thing that is happening. I don't think that would be a financially viable thing for developers. Do I think there's other means of maybe there's some ethical line of just I think most people are decent about it. Perfect example, Giant Bomb and the folks at Iron Galaxy, they're friends with the people that work there, so they generally just don't talk about their games. They'll talk about them if they're on the show with them, or if they're casually doing a stream and they happen to be on, but they always make it very clear these are our friends and we're talking about their game. But don't read into it any more than that. I don't think there's widespread corruption in game journalism. It's just silly. There's stuff just either shitty people like that Philip Mewson from a few years ago, just being lazy and stealing people's work. There's bad takes aplenty, but I don't think half of the reason Game Press gets shit is ever worth it. The woman from Game Informer that simply wrote the article about whatchamacallit, oh god, Cyberpunk, that hey, Cyberpunk has some all games have warnings about seizures and whatnot, at least they are supposed to, and Cyberpunk apparently has some visuals that are very explicitly triggering for people to have epilepsy, and she's someone who has epilepsy. She said she experienced a seizure while playing the game. She just wrote an article to give people a heads up, a PSA, hey, maybe don't play this game for a little while until they fix this if you have these issues. And there are people jumping down her throat on Twitter and whatnot, and it's just infuriating. I know a lot of it is just either young kids or CD Projekt Red fan boys and girls, because that developer still has a reputation amongst average folks that they do no wrong by the gamers, but which is just lame. But CD Projekt Red has done plenty wrong by the gamers and have done plenty wrong by their employees. Anyway, I don't want to rant about that forever, because I could, and it makes me angry, and it's probably not super enjoyable to listen to for very long. What other Game Awards stuff that won't make me super angry was there? Geez, I'm trying, like, I think the start of that show was solid, and then a lot of the announcements from, like, the middle on was just either weren't for me, or I was just, like, zoning out. Except for the very last announcement that has me so excited, but also so very, very worried. That being Mass Effect. And part of me can't believe that they announced that they were going to do another Mass Effect, but I just assumed that, like, okay, it's not going to be Andromeda 2 because they wouldn't make an explicitly an Andromeda 2, because that would be, that game still has such a bad reputation even though it's mostly fixed and is a decent game. But I still figure, like, there's no way they go anywhere near the original trilogy. Oh, hey Gilgamesh. I figured they weren't going to go anywhere near the original trilogy, because why would they? How the original trilogy ended, I am fine with. I think a lot of what was wrong with it was overblown, and fans were super whiny, and the whole fix-it thing was shitty on the part of fans of the game. But I figured BioWare would never want to even get near that stuff again. That they would, like, if they made another Mass Effect set after 3, it would be so far removed and you wouldn't see anybody from the original trilogy, but oh, there was Liara at the end of that, and I was just let my heart, as someone who replayed the trilogy once this year and is currently replaying it again, and 3 is my favorite game ever, and I love 1 and 2, like the playthrough I had of the trilogy early this year was just, like, perfect. It's one of the most pleasant experiences I ever had with a piece of media, and how things ended with it, and being able to finally get to all the DLC. It was like the first time I did the Citadel DLC, which has all the great stuff. It was just like, you just have, like, the house party with all of the crew from over the entire trilogy. That's so good. It's like, it's such fan service, but it's just really good fan service, and I'm such a mark for that stuff. And I'm worried that, like, I will always take more Mass Effect, but part of me doesn't want them to do, doesn't want them to have the same issue that, like, Star Wars, the films have had to some degree, especially, like, the main trilogies, where they have this giant universe and then they continue to focus on, like, the same 5 people. Now, showing Liara, like, doesn't necessarily mean they're gonna be, like, hyper focused on the original trilogy, but because, like, you only see a brief glimpse of her, but she has, like, crow's feet, fire eyes, and some, like, smile lines, so it's implying that she's aged a significant amount. And she's supposed to be, like, what, 103 or something, 110, somewhere, like, in that range in Mass Effect 1. And by the end of 3, only, like, a year or 2 older, which is very young for Asari. They get to be a century old. So this could be, like, hundreds and hundreds of years down the line after 3. But there's just, it's not, like, I've seen them, like, apparently a lot of people that worked on the original trilogy have come back, besides Casey, who just just left again very recently, but like other people like that were like lead like writers on like a lot of the background info, and like people that like were technical leads and design leads, and like in the positions that I think matter way more than like a director. Like it sounds like they've gotten a lot of people back and like they want to do it right, but it's not like the BioWare is not the BioWare that it was even when Mass Effect 3 came out. They're a different team. They're under a different EA, and they definitely have a tighter rope. Because, you know, Dragon Age Inquisition, while not like hated, definitely wasn't as huge of a hit you would expect something from like BioWare to be, at least like amongst that fandom. And then obviously Andromeda blew up in their faces. And then Anthem, I mean they're still apparently trying to fix Anthem, but I'm not convinced that that thing is ever going to get fixed. And the next Dragon Age 4 is the next thing that they're doing. Like that would presumably be out way before whatever the next Mass Effect is. But like they've shown that game 3 times now, and they've never actually shown gameplay. It's just been like 3 very small trailers that, and we know that the development cycle for Dragon Age 4 has been bad. Like they started back in like 2015 or something, and the first idea that they were like 2 years in on was like a smaller, more focused thing. There was going to be like another sort of like situation that they did with 2, where it was like only one city or whatever, which I like the notion of. I think doing a small focus in that can really work. Obviously 2 has its issues, but then that version of Dragon Age 4 got scrapped, and they've restarted it, and yeah. Like, I'm not convinced that BioWare will even exist in like 3 years, so yeah, BioWare. Yeah, and Dragon Age, and particularly Mass Effect, the trailer from last night, because I'm a huge Mass Effect fan. And I'm excited and worried as hell. I'm just like, part of me is like, does this new Mass Effect ever even come out? Because will BioWare even exist in 3 years? Like, what if Dragon Age 4 is a flop? Which seems like it doesn't seem unreasonable. I hope not. Like, I would love for it to be a great game, even though I'm not like as big of a Dragon Age fan. That was definitely the thing that got me most excited from last night. I was hoping maybe we would see something from Breath of the Wild 2, but like Nintendo tends to keep like first time footage and whatnot, if I remember correctly, to their own shows. And they haven't had like a big direct in a while, so maybe that's something that they do early next year. Because presumably Breath of the Wild 2 is... I know there was originally talk that it was supposed to be like this holiday. But that was like as of like a year and a half ago or something. And obviously, for many reasons, they have not been able to complete that. Which is fine. Take your time. I'm going to apologize in advance that I'm not playing super well and probably all that interestingly. Opinions on Attack on Titan new season. I am somebody who's enjoyed that series less as it's gone on. The first season I love. Like, it's the first... If you look at my anime list page, you'd see that I have season 1 as a 10 out of 10. And then, like, season 2 is like maybe a 6 or 7, and season 3 the same. I just think that, like, as that series has gone on, and it's focused more on, like, the political stuff and the larger lore of that world, which there is plenty of controversy about that stuff that I haven't seen enough of to make a final opinion on, but some of it's not great, but like particularly just as it's trying to like do more explicit, here's like deep writing, I haven't enjoyed that stuff. Like, I like Season 1 for the fact that it is mostly just this show in a horrifying world, and they don't have a whole lot of time to have lore dumps and whatnot. That it is just so constantly this overbearing world that if they pause even for a second, they're dead. Where am I hearing this music from? Is there somebody like phased into the ground at this point? Oh, this guy down here. No, not them. They're not activated. I will say, like, at the very least, I haven't even really seen much promotional footage of the new season, but when it was under Studio Wit, it always looked good. Like, production-wise, they were killing it on that, but apparently it was also killing them, so they didn't want to do it anymore. And, you know, I have faith in Mappa. Mappa's been a pretty good studio. The one new anime that they have that I forget the name of, the Shonen Jump property. That looks good. Like, it looks well animated. It looks pretty. Has like a decent art style. I know they announced that Chainsaw Man is being done by Mappa, right? Which, well, not my preferred pick, but my preferred pick is Busy, so. I'll definitely watch Attack on Titan, the final season, at some point though. Like, I'm this far in. I'm not gonna drop it at this point. I think of anything else from the Game Awards that got announced that seemed interesting to me. But I feel like there was that new game from Joseph Fares, the fuck the Oscars guy, who's always something to watch at least. That looked like maybe he learned with A Way Out that like the self-serious narrative maybe wasn't the best thing for his stuff. I hope the humor in this, like his new game, isn't as bad as I think maybe a humorous game from him could be. Yeah, Mappa has. I mean, they're a big studio, I would presume, and I also presume they get a lot of outside help. But they've been doing a lot, and generally speaking, they do it well. Gosh, I forget if what's his name is still like a higher up there. I know he was like one of the founders and a big executive producer. He's one of the most famous executive producers in anime that I'm forgetting the name of. Last name starts with an M, I think. He was friends with Satoshi Kon. Moriyama, right? I think his name. I forget if he's still there. Dude's old, so probably not, but then again. If I had my pick, it would have been Yuasa doing Chainsaw Man, because I think his loose style would have really fit the loose and kind of like Chainsaw Man. The manga is not always like this most technically sound like drawing, but it is always like goddamn pretty. It has like a ton of loose line work, and I think that works well with Yuasa. But he's not really doing as much as he used to. I think he's working on like one series as like the actual director right now. I forget the name of it. Starts with an I. Inyo or something. But generally speaking, I know that he's like stepped back from his like, I'm gonna do everything role at Science Saru. Like I know he just straight up let and Young Choi take over as like, you know, the president of the company. And now she's the one deciding like more business end stuff. And he's just doing creative oversight on most projects, but generally I think they've really been trying to let more of the younger staff just straight up run some of the shows. Because I know that's like their strategy is they like to, with their TV shows, give some creative freedoms to the younger staff members, and then you know they prove themselves there, and then if they have a good idea for a movie, then okay, let's make that movie, and then you can be the director on it, which is what they did with whatchamacallit, oh god, the movie that did Ride Your Wave, yeah, that had a lot of like the creative leads on a lot of it were a lot of the folks that were like younger staff members at that studio. And I also know that Japan Sinks 2020 was something that like Yuasa is listed as like a director on it, but really wasn't. He wasn't like the show's main director. Which that is by far like Science Saru's messiest work, and not in the usual way of like good messy like Science Saru is known for. Oh, heading over to the really at this point of this game, I'm just trying to level up so that I can finish up like the last of the Liyue story stuff, because I know the new area is supposed to be coming out fairly soon. I think it's supposed to be like the snowy area that has all the people that are vaguely Russian. Trying to think of there's I'm blanking on like everything else from the Game Awards at this point. There was a lot of cool announcements for like Star Wars stuff yesterday, but also a lot of stuff that I'm equally leery about because it's Disney. And when they say we're going to do 10 Star Wars series, I think, oh, they're going to find a way to homogenize all this, aren't they? Because I've enjoyed The Mandalorian, like what I've watched of it. It's what I want out of Star Wars, which is what I mentioned earlier, with the whole don't just focus on 5 people that are named Skywalker, Solo, and whatnot. Like there's more to that universe than that. Mandalorian is like the exact show that you have in mind when they show like the cantinas in the original movies and you see all these cool characters in the background. You're like, I wonder what they're up to. And this is just a show about what those people are up to. Well, you got me there. I also know I think they're doing like a semi-collection of short animations from Japanese. They said from the best Japanese animation or anime studios is what was the press release for that, the Star Wars stuff. Thanks, Elite. I will hopefully have decent luck with finding. But yeah, hopefully, it's Disney, so I'm just so worried that they'll do what they did with the main trilogy of the movies that they did, where it was, the Rise of Skywalker sure is awful. I remember not liking Solo when I saw it in theaters either, but like after seeing The Rise of Skywalker, maybe I would feel a little better about Solo now. Rogue One's still probably my favorite of all the movies though at this point. Like I like a lot about The Last Jedi, but I think that's a movie that has like some real missteps here and there. But visually it's like one of the strongest Star Wars movies, and then it also just has like ideas and concept-wise, like what they wanted, like what that movie was trying to do with Jedi and everything is similar to like KOTOR 2 in some ways, which I love KOTOR 2. I feel like I've done this one like a solid dozen times this week. I didn't really pay any attention to the actual like Disney thing itself. It was just like an investor call, right? Like it wasn't an actual like event of any sort where they had trailers as far as I am aware. I know it was also a lot of Marvel stuff, and I just don't care about the Marvel movies whatsoever at this point. I'm happy for the people that do, because they're gonna keep getting a ton of Marvel movies until it's no longer profitable, which will seemingly be a long time from now, so. I did like a couple of ones that came out at least like in the last 5 years. Like I liked Ragnarok, and I liked Black Panther. But those were both like movies that definitely were given a little more leeway, it would seem, to like the creative leads. Like you can tell that's a Taika Waititi movie. Slowly getting there. Need to get to rank 29. I would like to eventually get a few more characters. I did unlock somebody the other day. Let's see. It was one of the people from the new thing, but it was like the Ice Boy, who I have no real interest in. I don't think I have him in my party, if any of my parties. Character archive. Yeah, let's yeah. This dude. I mean, he seems kind of cool, but at the same time, he's not my pirate lady. New Perfect Dark. I liked the Perfect Dark on N64 when I played it like a long time ago. I had never played the 360 version. I think it's cool that it's coming back. Like, I didn't catch who the developers were on it though. I assume it's not Rare. But I'm all for it coming back. Like, it's a series that people have some fondness for. It's also Microsoft needs exclusives, like exclusive IP. Oh, one of the things that definitely was super awesome to see, that wasn't like a big announcement, but all the remaining Yakuza games coming to Game Pass. Because right now there's 0, Kiwami 1, and Kiwami 2 on Game Pass, and now they're going to bring the 3 through 5 remaster and then 6 over to Game Pass, which is all the mainline ones at least, besides obviously 7. Which I'm all for. I mean, I'm still way behind on that series. I'm like halfway through 2, but Game Pass continues to be a really good deal. I mean, they also announced like Skyrim, because of course Skyrim's going to be put on that, especially after Bethesda signing those deals with Microsoft. And then things like Titanfall 2, and I would presume, I think there was Doom maybe was also another Bethesda thing. There was just like a handful of games that were coming to Game Pass. Like, okay, yeah, these all are cool things that more people should be able to play. Oh, where to now? Kinda zoned out again. Maybe you should do one of these side quests. I've never even looked at this stuff yet. I feel like every few days they put in like another new tab in this game to click on, which is fine by me. It's kind of just what it exists for. This is my one busy work game that I enjoy. I could do some of this for now. I know I need to do at least I actually think I got as far as I can. Now I'm remembering. Because I hit a point where I was having some trouble. I know there's like way more efficient ways of grinding and whatnot. I'm always like half zoned out when I'm playing this game. Find a boss of some sort to fight. Wasn't any like big PlayStation things at the Game Awards, right? Like they didn't show anything for Horizon. They didn't have any God of War stuff. I presume we won't know what Naughty Dog is working on again for like another 2-3 years. Because they released a bunch of their exclusive games in the last like 2 years that their teams have been working on for a while. Could you maybe face the right way? Wrong person. I'm kind of curious though how they even like announced otherwise. Let's look this up real quick, out of curiosity here. Game Awards 2020 announcements. One of the first things that popped up is Master Chief in Fortnite. Whatever. I don't care about Fortnite. I've played a little bit of it, and it's not a battle royale for me. Oh, there was a handful of indie stuff that I'm totally forgetting about, like that Seasons game, which just looks like a lot of wandering in like a big, beautiful open world. That looked very interesting to me because I'm, being someone who likes Breath of the Wild for that sort of stuff. That seems very much my jam. There was the new game from Fulbright, the people who made Gone Home and Tacoma, which, sure, I haven't played Tacoma yet, but I like Gone Home a whole lot. They showed that, they showed that game with a terrible, terrible name, Returnal. Video games have bad names all the time, but Returnal might be one of the worst names I've seen in a while. Like, at least with something like Revengeance, the Metal Gear Solid Platinum game, like, it's a goofy game by a goofy developer, so of course they're gonna give it a goofy name, but Returnal's just like, come on. You should know better. See how well I do against this. Not starting great. Oh yeah, I forget, yeah. It's gotta hit it when it's vulnerable. I mean, not that Returnal looks like a bad game, it looks super silly to have that name. But that was also, I think, was at like that PlayStation event earlier this year where they also announced that Chorus game that everyone thought was Chorves at first because of the way that it's like the style of the lettering on it looked, because it made it look like it was a V instead of an A or whatever. Oh yeah, immune. That was silly me. I don't really have an opinion outside of like the issues with the awards themselves, like the award show itself, as far as the awards go, because I didn't play most of the games that were nominated, because most of the games that were nominated were like the same 10 games across a lot of the categories, which is always super lame to see, but because like what, Game of the Year nominees were The Last of Us 2, Animal Crossing, Hades, Doom Eternal, Ghost of Tsushima, is that it? And I've only played The Last of Us 2, and The Last of Us 2 is fine. It's not my game of the year. My game of the year is probably The Pathless, which I do like a lot, but it's not like a game that I would also typically say is like, in a year where I've hardly played any new games, it's not really saying a lot that The Pathless is my game of the year. But it is good. Like, it is legitimately a game I like a fair bit. We'll just hit it with this because it's still kind of strong. Should also probably be hitting it with her more. And also just be paying attention in general. Come on! Oh yeah, I mean, there was that Nier Replicant trailer, like in the pre-show, but it wasn't exactly more than we've seen before already. Like, it showed off some more gameplay, but we've already seen the gameplay to some degree. Which, at the same time, sure, I'm all for Nier Replicant. I haven't finished the original yet. That's another game I'm like halfway through on. But I'm liking it a lot so far, and I'm interested to see what they do. I mean, I know Replicant's supposed to be, like, it's the Japanese version as opposed to the... what do I have to do here again? I totally forget. I totally forget what I'm supposed to do here with the wind crystals or whatever. Fuck. I have no idea what that is, Gilgamesh. Excuse me? How about... Maybe I zoned out in that part? What? Four-player, like, co-op-ish things, or just generally co-op multiplayer stuff that they showed off. I should kill this thing and actually pay attention. I guess I just, like, totally blanked on that Gilgamesh. I didn't... Come down. Should also probably have what's-her-face in here. Kiki, if I'm gonna be running. Still don't have like any good electro characters. It's part of the problem here. I like Noellen a lot because she's one of my stronger characters, at least damage-wise, and she has her little shield here, which helps a lot. Okay. I have to remember what I'm supposed to do when I hit this thing. I remember beating this like a week or two ago, but I was also paying attention when I was doing it. Come on. Yeah, okay. Oh, didn't mean to hit that. Come on. There we go. Oh, so close. There we go. Oh, what do we got over here? Oh, maybe I didn't fight this one before. I guess I fought one that's similar. Oh, that looks unappetizing. I grabbed a granola bar that was sitting in my pantry and kind of looks like the way a melted Butterfinger would if it sat in your car trunk during the hottest day of summer, and then kind of solidified again. Nope. Answer your question, I have not. That person hasn't been online in a while. Also, I mean, sure. This just threw me off for a second. Why am I not? I almost walked away from that. Oh, yeah, because I'm a fool. Okay. Let's work down the map here. Yeah, my mic is... I was trying to fix it when I first started up, and it's... I don't know what's wrong with it. I don't know why it's coming through this way. The thing is that, like, I'm using OBS, and I'm just using my Astro headset, and I switch the settings around on OBS in my Astro headset, especially when I'm, like, recording, I've been recording a lot of like my Mass Effect playthrough because I'm going to do videos about Mass Effect at some point. But me switching around the settings a lot because I need to have slightly different settings for when I'm recording because I'm trying to get like the best quality possible out of those recordings. Sometimes I mess up settings that I probably shouldn't. This one's underground, right? I think I remember it being underground. Don't remember how to get there, though. Not interested in you. There we go. That was, foolish of me. Thought I hit space and time. He'll heal. Come on. Just trying to swap over. Welcome. Please help me murder this giant ice plant that I'm... Whoops, I don't have my healer anymore. Oh yeah, they're full. Oh well. We got this. You're way better and higher level than me, so I'm not concerned. Let's see. I'll continue to work down the coastline here. That plant is indeed iced. Fuck that plant. Eat all the enemies. Sure. Probably gonna be on at least for another like 30-ish minutes or so. Friday nights are my PUBG nights typically. I think I mentioned it before, but I play in a community night that a bigger Twitch streamer has. Tend to be kind of like more interesting game modes than like normal rounds of PUBG. Like either goofy stuff that's like C4 in cars where it's just giant C4 explosions and maniacs driving around trying to run you over. Or like something called Scary Crate Mountain, which is like no UI whatsoever, and then there's a bunch of like this big supply crates dropping in one particular spot of the map, and that's your only means of like navigating. And that's where like the final circle is slow. There's just only one circle, and it's slowly closing in on it, and the circle is insta-death. Back, you coward. Alrighty. Mission complete. Lots of stuff. Move on to... I don't think I've ever done the one over here on these little islands. I only went over to these little islands like earlier this week, I think. Let's see, what islands over here? It's over here, okay. Should also probably heal my dude. Oh. That's annoying. Well. Let's see, what else is there to talk about? The new video is coming along well enough. I've pretty much have the script done. It's long. It's a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. I'm probably going to have to like do a couple heavy edits on it still. But like right now it's sitting like at somewhere around like 9,000 words, which would make it pretty much just as long as my Mass Effect video, my Mass Effect Andromeda video. This is like 50 minutes, and I don't know that I want to do that necessarily, but I'm happy with like a lot of what the script is. Like I think I found a good handful of like big points to focus in on, and a lot of little nuances from there. That'll be the last, definitely the last video of the year. I know I put out that little video about the Mass Effect anime. We going the right way? You know we're not going the right way. My bad. Sorry. That little Mass Effect video I kind of just wanted to do because Pause and Select, who's a not like a huge anime YouTuber, but like definitely, I think they're like a 50,000-60,000 subscriber channel, so like decent size for sure. Also like way smarter person than me. If you haven't watched their stuff, like he's generally like takes a more academic approach to talking about anime and whatnot, but he's genuinely like quite good. I would suggest like his videos on Japan Sings 2020 are like two recent ones that he had from this year that are both super interesting because he's speaking from a more learned perspective on that stuff than I. But yeah, he did the whole, he did a Novid November challenge where he just wanted people like, it can be a short video, but just like make a video about an anime that isn't like, doesn't have a lot of videos on it that are analytical videos. Because he tends to do a lot of stuff that's like not super popular material. He's not covering all like the big anime of every season. That's just not his jam. That's generally not what I like to do either anymore, but it just seemed like a fun little thing to do, and also, hey, maybe it'll get some attention from folks. Not that I think like it's an incredible little video that I made, something that I spent like a day doing, but like I think I at least made one little novel point about that Mass Effect Andromeda anime, just the Mass Effect anime movie. Gots to go north, right? Yeah, it's over there. No, Jesus. I should look at the actual compass and everything, right? I am so completely zoned out as I'm playing this. I'm sorry. Are these birds frozen over here? Yeah, they were. Okay. Alright, that's what we're going for, but I'll wait up here. But yeah, that last video is a big one about that game company, all the stuff they've done, and Giant Squid, who are, you know, attached to that game company's history. kind of hit the point with the video where, like, I'm still very much into working on it, but with every video that I do, like, I have a lot of ideas for things I want to do in the future, and I'm, like, just excited and want to get to them. I feel like this is probably a different team needed here than what I have, right? Can I swap? No, that's not what I want to do. Probably swap and cover, right? Ah, party setup. Oh, yeah. Great. Am I outside of its range over here? Sounds... Music was fading? God damn it. Just let me leave. I don't feel like running on the other side. Fine, I will leave the way that I came. Which was only like right behind me when I started to run away anyhow. Watching me play this probably makes me look like such a fool. And in fairness, I kind of am, but... Okay. Let's... swap. Oh, you got the new punk girl. Cool. I'm just gonna have her in because I like using her. At least with Noelle, I kinda have one of my heavy hitters. I know you'll do most of the work, which I appreciate. Oh yeah. Ah, see that? A good combo. Vaporizing, freezing them. Look at us. Quite the team. Else is still doing good damage. Alright, there we go. Fine work. Oh, halfway to 29. Getting there. This way, I think. These things are super annoying. Go away. Back here. God, these things are aggravating. Goddamn Sonic the Hedgehog over here. Alright, what direction? This direction. Ah, okay. Come on. Use your fire, little slime. Please, don't make me have to do it myself. Oh well. Hot swap to... She's quicker about lighting things, so... Oh, come on. Didn't even see that one over there. Okay, I will wait. And look at the string of text that I have for some reason. Why is there 13 texts in a group chat that hardly ever has text? I don't know, it's just a handful. And nothing all that interesting. Let's see. As far as plans for next year go, I think January is going to be one video situation again. As of right now, it's a video that I've been working on trying to get out for a long while. I think I've mentioned this, but hopefully that actually happens, because I would like to be done with that. I would like to have my thoughts about this anime out there. And then after that, it's probably going to be a mix of things. Like I mentioned, coffee burp. Not pleasant. Like I mentioned, there's going to be a handful of Mass Effect videos in the first part of next year. Right now I have, I'm not going to do one per game for the original trilogy, but I'm going to have one about 2 in some regard, and then one about 3. And both of those will probably be out before the Legendary Edition. That's my hope, at least. Am I talking about Japan Sings 2020 in what regard? Like the the big anime video that I would like to do, then no is the answer to that. I can just say it, hopefully I actually get it done. I have been planning a video about Ping Pong the animation, so not far off with Japan Sinks. I've been meaning to talk about Ping Pong the animation for so long, and I have like a lot of a script actually written for it. Wow, we sure did murder that fire plant. But yeah, Ping Pong the animation's probably my favorite anime, directed by Yuasa, and definitely at least my favorite thing from Science Saru. Well, yeah, that was technically their first anime, right? I think so. It was either the first or like the last thing they did before they were officially Science Saru. Yeah, that thing was not much of a fight. But yeah, hopefully I'm able to get that. To put it into perspective, I have lived in, let's see, 4 different homes in the time that I've been planning to try to get this Ping Pong the animation video out. Now, in fairness, I've moved a lot in the last, like, 2 years, in part because when I was initially working on that Ping Pong video, I had the pleasure of being kind of homeless because of a tornado, so, and then that put a damper on a lot of production for like 2 months. Oh. Probably should pick different people, shouldn't I? Oh well. Wasn't really paying that much attention. I have faith in you. We did this one before. Kazuya, right? Pretty sure we did. Yeah, because it knocks out the platforms. Ah, get back here, crabs. I do have like a lot of like literal videos that I would like to do, but they're also I have so many ideas for like Mass Effect stuff, which I don't want to just only do Mass Effect things next year because I know that will some people just don't give a shit about that. Not that I like only want to do things that people give a shit about. I try to just do the things that I care about and that I'm passionate about that make me want to make videos, but it's important to mix it up a little bit. But there's like small stuff, like I would like to have a video that focuses on like how the design of the Normandy and like the interior changes and how specifically like these like designs of how specifically like the design of how they lay out like individual party members' rooms, like where they stay on the Normandy, like what that says about that character and all that sort of stuff. I'll just let you do all the heavy lifting and I'll well, good work. There's another one that like videos similar to that I would like to do that would be more so focused on like the bars and clubs throughout the Mass Effect series that I find like those things are super fascinating to me because they're like great examples of level design. I went to the wrong place. And I would like to just gush about the good level design in Mass Effect, specifically how they like have environmental storytelling through their bars and whatnot. But this is my problem. A lot of the videos that I want to do are either like super long and take time for me to do, and I'm not like the world's fastest video editor, so it ends up taking a decent amount of time to just get one of these things done. So by that point, I have like 80 million ideas that I would like to get to. Anything neat up here? Nope. Guess we're just going over to this thing for now. Play for a little bit longer. 15 minutes or so, probably. Alright. Less than I thought it was going to be. Oh well. Let's move down the line on this, I guess. Don't worry, I'll save you. Watch out for the Silichurl. It was definitely gonna beat you. I've been reading, or rereading, Chainsaw Man to bring that up once more because I can't stop thinking about that manga. I'm a decent ways behind on like where things are. I know there's one more chapter left. I'm like on chapter 85 is where I stopped before I was like, okay, I'm just gonna wait for this to like get to the end of December and then catch up. And then it was like, oh, they're gonna finish this. So let me just reread all of it and then. This is perplexing. I'm not crazy. Like, you see the symbol here too, right? I thought it was like signaling that it was underground for a second, because it looks like there'll be a cave here. But there isn't, right? I'm not like... Definitely none of these rocks look like they're breakable. Okay, then. I've done some broken quests in this. I had a daily the other day that was just like the quest giver wasn't activating. They just refused to talk to me. Easy there. Okay, well if we can't do that, then let's go to the golden weight line, whatever stuff. But yeah, I've been rereading Chainsaw Man. I've gotten, I think I'm chapter 35 on my reread. Manga's so good. Looks so good, all the designs are just, like, the monster designs. The thing, like, you turn the page, and then it's just, like, this incredible just spread of this wild design. And then just, like, conceptually, that manga just has some, like, everything around the girl, the little zombie girl that says Halloween all the time, her sort of master, and then the Santa Claus fight, we'll say. Ugh, so good. Although I did have to, I mean, this isn't spoilery, I won't say name deaths, but like, Chainsaw Man, if you haven't read it, a lot of characters die. Like, it's not a happy manga. Things do not work out for a lot of people in it. And I got to, like, one of the first character deaths again that, like, hit me. It's just absolutely adored this character, and then, boom. They die, like, they have a good death. Like, they go down fighting in a way that they're protecting the people that they care about, and there's a lot left unsaid between those people and everything, and it's very sad, but still, like, so much of that manga hits really hard, even on the second time through, and having some of the context of, like, knowing how things go, especially in regards to, like, that manga starts off with Denji, the main character. He's just like this kid who's wildly in debt because of the decisions of people older than him, and his life is miserable, and he just wants some small semblance of comfort and normalcy. And once he gets that stuff, like, he's totally happy, but then you realize he only is getting this stuff because of an abusive government that is taking advantage of him, and all this. Just, it's this manga that, like, at first blush, you look at it and, like, oh, this seems really goofy and dumb, and it is a lot of the time. But I think it also just manages to, like, something in the same way that, like, something like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure or the Yakuza series, like, both those things can be really goofy and, like, just weird at times, but then when they get down to, like, the serious storytelling moments, like, they just absolutely crush it. And yes, I blew myself up there, but I'm okay with that. I wanted to. These guys glitching around. So yeah, hard suggests on reading Chainsaw Man. It's a good time jumping, I think. You could catch up on everything that's coming out and where it's ending next week, and then whatever the follow-up is will, I think, if I remember correctly, it's supposed to be maybe a slower pace, publication pace. I forget if that was confirmed, though. Is there any more of that stuff? Oh, there's one north of us. Or northwest of us. Alright, good work. I did start watching Kaiba, which is the last Yuasa like full TV show that I needed to watch. 3 episodes in, and it is exactly as weird as like earlier Yuasa stuff is, in a good way. Seems really cool so far. It's also just like really simple, cute designs that are like super well animated. Northeast. There's a treasure and a view over here. Do I do YouTube for a living? I do it for a partial living. Like, it makes me a little bit of money, but it's not my main source of income. Right now, I also do DoorDash, which is just, I mean, it's fun. Really, it's nice to do that because it works well with making my own hours. And it's been decent money. I've been doing it for like about a month now. Because I was in the process of like moving, and also everything with COVID, I was unemployed for a while this year. I'm also trying to do more freelance writing. Actually, I sent out a bunch of, I sent out a pitch for an article to a bunch of places, and just fingers crossed on that at this point. And then I'm in some like loose talks with like a smaller site, which is, it's not a big paying job if I were to get it, but it's at least something. It would just be a little extra money here and there. But it would, you know, as someone like 5 years ago, I was like, oh, I want to get into games, like journalism / press / reviews, whatever you really want to call it. I mean, I still definitely would and would like to. Part of why I do YouTube is like in hopes that I could leverage my YouTube work. Like, it's getting slightly more successful. Like, I should probably hit 3,000 subscribers by the end of the year, which isn't wild, but like, you know, it's a modest little following. People seem to like what I do for the most part. Unless I say something like Avatar's mediocre or whatever, then they tend to either send death threats or laugh at me, which, I mean, I'm fine with the latter of the two, but like, I know trying to make YouTube your primary source of income is like incredibly difficult, and especially with YouTube being trending how it has trended the last few years, where it's just not kind to its content creators, especially people who are honestly not stirring the pot. Like, as much as they occasionally slap the wrist of people like PewDiePie, or I don't know, think of any like super big YouTuber that's had controversies that probably should have gotten them kicked off. Is there anything I'm passionate about? I mean, media criticism is the thing that I'm most passionate about. I went to school for writing arts, so writing in general is what I'm passionate about, but particularly talking about media, I would, you know, if I were to get into like the more creative side one day, like if I were to either write on video games or write on TV shows, like that would honestly be a dream job as far as I'm concerned. Otherwise, I mean, I'm just... I deeply regret not going to college for something that I would have wanted to finish and had, like, been a more plausible career. Like, I think about... I took a decent amount of, like, communication theory courses alongside of, like, my writing arts stuff, and also, like, I took a decent amount of Japanese and a semester of Chinese. Like, I thought, like, thinking about it now, what I should have done is that I should have gotten into, like, more PR stuff or translation and whatnot, that side of things. Which, in theory, I could still probably get away with doing even with just, like, having some background in writing arts. Like, I could still, not necessarily PR and whatnot, but, like, something in that general vicinity. Yeah, I mean, right now the YouTube thing is, like, it's where I put my efforts, and I know it's difficult to make a living off of YouTube, but I think I wouldn't be shocked if I could at least get it to the point where I'm, like, not living comfortably, but it can be my main source of income, and I would be fine with just doing that. Like, I wouldn't have to stress about having a part-time or another full-time job. East we go. Admittedly, like, there's been gaps in me really trying to push for freelance work, and there shouldn't have been. My own fault of, like, a mixture of, like, the times where I, like, did really first try to get into doing freelance stuff, and just because it's a small field when it comes to games coverage and anime coverage, I didn't get the work. Like, no one, I would occasionally get response from people like, you know, this isn't, like, a bad idea or anything, but, like, it's just not what we're looking for. Or, like, hey, we already have an article that, like, we're working on that's like this. I got, like, I think there was a Final Fantasy 15 thing that I had pitched, like, years ago that, like, probably was the closest thing I got to getting a freelance job. Because the editor, like, responded, like, hey, this is a good idea for an article, but I'm sorry, we literally just, like, hired somebody, like, 2 days ago to write the same thing. It was, like, a sort of road trip article about the, like, how, what's-his-face Prompto has, his photo mode in that game. How do you do your reviews on things like Avatar? I mean, what precisely do you mean by that? Like, in general, how do I, my creative process with them? Because generally my creative process with it, like any TV show stuff, is I will always rewatch the thing. Prior to making a video, even if I saw it, like, for example, I hadn't, like, the Korra video, I hadn't seen Korra since it aired, before doing that big 40-minute Korra video. So, I just sat down and rewatched the entire series, and as I'm doing any sort of rewatch, or even when it's video games or a manga or whatever, I'm just kind of constantly taking notes. And it's never, like, it doesn't have to be, like, I'm not, like, pausing to write down a full paragraph. It can just be, like, a nugget of a thought, like, why I liked a specific scene or something. And, like, my the writing process itself tends to be, first I just spew out every little thought I have, like unrefined, just get it down on paper. That's the most important thing. Just if you have a thought that you think is worth talking about at any degree, just put it down, and then when you get to writing the first draft, if it proves to be not all that interesting, or you come to the final draft and this doesn't really fit, that's when you cut it out or whatever. But I just vomit everything I can on a Word doc and then work from there, really. So all those notes, all the notes that I'm writing while I'm watching something, all the notes that I'll write while I'm just okay, I just got done 3 or 4 episodes, now I have a lot of thoughts I want to get out, and I'll just sit down for an hour or so and write. And it's just a continue little evolution of the thoughts as I'm just chipping away at everything. Constant little iterations on everything. Are there little things we can kill here? No? Oh well. I have been meaning to do a video that kind of has a bit more detail on just general creative process, because I do small stuff for a Patreon bonus, the $5 Patreon bonus or whatever. But it's generally just more rambling thoughts and not the finer details of the creative process. I think as far as the video editing process has gone, me as a video editor has been a lot of learning. Because I think if you go back and look at some of the older stuff on my channel, it's not very good as a video. It's not worth it here, okay. I still don't think I'm a particularly good video editor, in part because I don't have some of the programs that other people use as their regular rotation on editing any given video. B, I'm not see you, Kazuya. B, I'm not thank you for helping with everything, because I'm bad at this game. I'll play for another maybe 10-15 minutes here at most. But I'm just I'm not a great video editor. I think a lot of that has been me having to learn simple things that other people who have a more of history in visual mediums, things that were obvious to them weren't obvious to me, having placeholder footage for stuff. I only started doing that in the last year. And particularly what I mean by that is when I'm editing a video, I'm just scanning through the timeline and going linear start to finish. And rather than just, okay, I don't have the specific footage I have in mind in the video in Adobe Premiere for this scene in the video, I don't have an image of Cora doing a firebending attack for the scene where I'm talking about her firebending abilities or whatever. Instead of just putting a placeholder image there or whatever, I used to do this silly thing where I would pause everything I'm doing, go around the internet and try to find exactly what I needed. And when in my videos I tend to reference a lot of other materials, so if I reference Oblivion in a video, and I want to show some Oblivion footage for 30 seconds. Well, then I gotta pause and find Oblivion footage, which I have a PC and I have Oblivion on that PC, so I just go record it, but then, well, I need footage that isn't just the beginning of the game, and I don't have a save file that isn't just the beginning of the game, so I need to... I'm still not a good video editor. I think a lot of that is just the finer details, but... It's just a process of learning it painfully, but definitely getting there eventually. I think it's most important to look at other people's work and kind of get ideas from that, because that's how my writing has gotten better over the years. But I've also been at least interested in doing some degree of writing as a passion since senior year of high school, because I was very cool in a part of the journalism class, which did the school newspaper, and the teacher was like, "Oh, you're actually pretty good at this writing thing. Maybe consider doing that for the rest of your life." And I had some other English teachers throughout high school that said similar stuff. So I was like, "All right, yeah, writing." So I've been writing ever since, and yeah, mostly have gotten better by reading people who are just genuinely good writers. I mean, I think that kind of goes for anything, is if you want to get better at something, look at the people who are better than you at it. Get rid of this jerk. Grab that, please. I've done a lot of rambling about myself, I feel like. Mildly arrogant. Oh, I'm so close to level 29. Have anything to turn in here? I might not force myself to get to level 29. Let's just... because I usually do this PUBG thing. It starts at 11. I like not to just be sitting and playing video games at my desk for... let's see, if I do for 2 hours on this, and then that goes to real early in the morning. It would be a solid 6 hours of playing games, and I don't feel like doing it at the moment. I need to give myself an hour break, probably. I leveled this up at least. I feel like I made good progress today. Just no progress in getting Beidou. How many characters are there now? 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 23. Okay. But really, like, that is actually nice of you, Pharma. I like talking about this stuff, but I always feel a little arrogant doing so, and weird and uncomfortable. But I get it, like, I know I appreciate it when I get to listen to my, like, the YouTubers or writers just talk about, you know, more average stuff in their lives or their own creative process and that sort of stuff. But anyway, Beidou here, like, she's a cool pirate lady with a humongous sword, and she also is Electro, which I have. Let's look. Just Lisa. Lisa's cool, but I don't like the way that she plays that much, if I'm being honest. And I missed she had an event that I missed, I'm pretty sure. It was like the week or so that I wasn't playing as much. And I just keep getting ice characters. Like the last two characters I've gotten are this dude and this little cat girl. And they're both, like, she's actually pretty fun, and he seems okay. But I don't need any more ice characters. I need a goddamn Electro. And who better than Beidou? I would also like Venti just for the sake of his ability to get around a little more. Razor seems cool too. I like the dogs. Oh, is there anything else I can quickly do here? Or is there any way that I could... Oh, I'm actually close to being able to do another 10 wishes. Cool. What's it, 1600 I need? Yeah. That is something that I can 100% get by to, like, get tomorrow. Wake up, do some dailies. A couple other things and probably get it. Unless... Well, here's this thing right here. I'm gonna force myself to stop at 10? Oh god, I forgot about this stuff. I forgot there was this fucking wall that I need to... Alright, well, let's kill this. Come on, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wakey, wakey. Oh. I always kind of wish they would, like, maybe do a little more damage, like the first few feet that it activates, so that when I want to hit him with it, but, you know, he's a big guy, so he doesn't get swept up by the tornado. I wish it would just do it like a little more damage in the first few feet that it spins. Okay, jerk. Oh, I wish I had a better way of following that up. She's not doing the damage I need to do here. Either is? Well, I guess this guy is level 40, so it's about their level. that combo's doing the work for me right now. Anything that I've been watching recently, I mean, I mentioned Kaiba, the Yuasa anime that I've not seen, the only one I haven't. I've also been rewatching Evangelion, like, slowly getting through that. I haven't seen Evangelion since, like, probably been about a decade. I watched the first episode of Akudama Drive. That's the name of it, right? Yeah, that's what it is. It's a show from what Tokyo Games is partly working on. That's the Kazutaka Kodaka and Kotaro Uchikoshi game dev studio. Those being the people that Kodaka's the lead on, was the lead on Danganronpa, and then Uchikoshi was the lead on the Zero Escape series. Like, I love both of those series, so I want, like, and then they went off, formed their own new studio called Tokyo Games, announced that they were going to make a bunch of games, so also comes some anime. Long story short, Akudama Drive is like the first anime that's coming out from them, and it is very much a Kodaka anime looking thing. Like, it has the same character designer that did like the base character designs at least, and then it is just so much of like a lot of what makes Danganronpa cool. Unfortunately, I watched the first episode and it's like the broadcast version, so it's super. I mean, there wasn't a ton of it, but like there was some censorship in it. With in regards to like the gore, so it would just be like black blobs on screen, which I want to see the things that the people have drawn. That's what I'm here for. Why did I think that was going to get me where I needed to go? See, this is where Venti would come in handy, where I'd just like quickly just jump up there. I mean, I'd probably come in from the top, but Jesus. But yeah, the first episode of Akudama Drive seemed cool. Like, it's stylish in the way that Danganronpa is. It's like every character has their big quirk. Like, it's a cyberpunkish world that looks kind of neat. That's the only like anime that is from at least like the last 2 seasons of anime that I've watched, but that I'm also paused on. I'm waiting on the Discord server thing that I do. It has a anime roulette. I'm waiting on that the month of that to start up. The person organizing it hasn't set it up yet for this month, but I'm not gonna fault them on that. It's just something that they do for fun. A slow way of getting to this, but it should work. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Now I need to probably, teleport all the way to the top if I'm remembering correctly. Anything I'm looking forward to? I mean, that's coming out fairly soon. I don't know. Let's take a look. Look at my desktop for a second there. Seasonal anime. I always forget that like it's behind by a couple seconds here. Now you're looking at my desktop, and soon you'll be seeing my Mal page. Winter 2021. We can run down this. I mean, Attack on Titan's already kind of airing, but I'll watch that at some point. didn't really care for the adaptation of this, of Promised Neverland. I read a large chunk of the manga like in one day, and that manga gets so bad. It starts off like the first arc is really good, I thought, for the most part. There's like one twist that I thought was very silly, but it feels like it had that idea for the first arc, which is a good idea, and then they had to keep writing the manga, and they just have been coming up with a lot of terrible, terrible stuff since. Don't care about ReZero. Did not like the first season. I think there was some cool stuff in ReZero, and I wish it was just in a better package. Beastars, that's something I'm looking forward to. I really like the first season of that. I like Studio Orange has done good stuff with 3D CG stuff. Let's see. Oh. Yes, please. This is... And to our right, we have Log Horizon. Now me, I am an absolute sucker for the people that did the first OP for Log Horizon. Man with a Mission, Man on a Mission. I forget which one it is, but they also did the second OP for Vinland Saga. If you've seen them before, they're the band that like all wear wolves' heads. They also did the Inuyashiki OP, which is so good. They're an incredible band. But Log Horizon's also like a really cool anime, I think. I'm happy it's come back. I'm happy its author is no longer dealing with his tax evasion issues, I guess. Glad he didn't end up in... I don't know if he ended up going to jail or anything and got fined. I forget what came of it. Let's see. Other than that, Yuru Camp. I really like the first season of this. I know a lot of people generally did, but it's like... I'm a sucker for food stuff, food-related anime, and the first season of Yuru Camp was just like a really comfy Yashike show about good food and pretty views in the wilderness. And as someone whose favorite shit about like games like Breath of the Wild and Final Fantasy 15 was kind of just like wandering the wilderness and camping and eating the food in the game, in those games, Yuru Camp, all about it. What else from this season? I'm sure that like if I was back in my watch at least one episode of 25 different seasonal anime, I'd probably like some of this other stuff, but like I'm also not clicking through to see who's creating a lot of this stuff. That might... Oh. Well. Also interested in Evangelion 3.0. I haven't seen any of the Evangelion movies. I haven't seen End of Evangelion. I haven't seen any of the rebuilds. But I plan on doing that after I finish my rewatch. And then this, next to it, Princess Principal. I mean, I'm sure that's probably not like a... I'm not sure if that's a recap or something, but I did really like that season of that. That's like a... If I remember correctly, it's the writer of Code Geass, I forget his name, who's also done just a lot of stuff in general. Like, he's written a lot of good stuff. But that's like a... If you've never seen Princess Principal and you want like a good, well-animated, like sort of stylish, like kind of Cold War spy thriller anime, I'd suggest watching that. Scrolling down here, looks like nothing else in that season. We'll go to Spring 21, and then we'll end the stream after scrolling through here. Well, My Hero Academia. Season 5. I'm a season behind on My Hero Acca. I feel like that's an anime I'm probably going to drop off of sometime soon here, because it's the type of stuff out of Shonen Jump that I tend to fall off of, that being like their super long running series that they seem to be doing less of these days. They seem to either be letting people finish things on their own terms, or people are just saying, hey, I can't do this anymore. ID Invaded. I've heard of it. I don't know that I've watched it. I'll look that up real quick on my phone. Oh yeah, this was like from a season or two ago. It was one of the things that I wrote down as like just based off of like the cover art. It looks kind of interesting. Like it definitely has some solid art to it. So it's something that I could potentially end up watching. Is it something that you enjoy? Because if you can sell me on it, then I'll definitely put it down as a watch sooner rather than later. Because I do kind of want to watch like some current anime just for the sake of it. Because I haven't in a while, really. Oh, big one here. I'll let the stream catch up. There we go. Follow up to Gridman. If you haven't seen my video on Gridman, I love Gridman. It's a really damn good anime. I mean, I'm a big fan of Trigger in general. I know they put out a trailer for this the other day. I haven't seen it yet. But it sure does look good. Look at this cover. Look at this dude. That's not a shirt. This is a bunch of bandages. What is he, a mummy? I don't care, but he has a cool design. Gridman's really good. I don't need to be sold on Trigger. They can just, as long Trigger can do what they want. It does remind me, Trigger's doing a cyberpunk anime, aren't they? Like licensed to Cyberpunk, the game / the tabletop game thing. That's probably a ways out, though. That's probably like a late 2021. This is probably the anime that I'm most looking forward to right here. Come on, stream, catch up. There we go. Right? No, come on. Scroll down, stream. There we go. Godzilla. I mentioned it on another stream. You know what? Here's what I'll do. I will put down ID Invaded as a show that I will watch over the Christmas through New Year's Eve time span, because I'll probably have a little extra free time, because hopefully I'll be done with a new video by then. And I'll watch it then. I'll give it a shot. But yeah, Godzilla. The character designs, they put out they like released a bunch of images of the character designs for a lot of the cast the other day, and they look so fucking cool. It's the lady that's doing the character designs for it is the manga author for Blue Exorcist, which has I've never read Blue Exorcist, but the designs in that are super cool, and the designs in this are also super fucking cool. None of them are on the page. Well, we'll look them up. But yeah, it's another Studio Orange thing. The trailer for it that they put out looks like, it looks like they're doing the right stuff with Godzilla as far as I'm concerned. Another Netflix thing that I'm kind of looking forward to is Eden. I'm not like super hyped on it, but I'm curious at the very least. It looks different. Like it has its own art style, and it's also Kevin Penkin's doing the music for it too. I forgot about that. He was the dude that did Made in Abyss, so he's done some other stuff since. He's done some other stuff since, but Kevin Bacon's music is goddamn incredible. Unsurprisingly, considering I know that he studied under Uematsu, right? Yeah, Final Fantasy dude. Let's see, what else here? I am looking forward to Mobile Suit Gundam, Hathaway's Flash. Because I'm a big Gundam fan. Don't really need to say more than that. And that looks like the end of this list. Is there anything later? We'll do later as well, because I'm curious. I like the first season of Dragon Maid, or Maid Dragon, Kobayashi. It was, like, amusing, and if I remember correctly, I might be mistaking this, but I think the manga artist for it also did another, like, series that I really enjoyed that they did, like, a short anime adaptation of. Like, it was like a 5-minute show. It was about this little blonde woman and her husband. It was like they were like a young couple that had just gotten married, and it was like a lot of like more existential sort of stuff and just like being an adult and like stressed about life. I forget the name of it, but it was really good. Zombieland Saga. I kind of like that first season. I would probably watch a sequel to it. Megalobox. I should have liked that first season, but I didn't. It was fine. It had no bite to it, was my problem. Like, it was so desperately wanted to be in the vein of Bebop, but it wasn't. Like, it is nowhere near it. And then also, even the stuff that it was trying to handle around, like, you know how it was messed up that this dude, in order to even gain access to the city or whatever, if I remember correctly, like, you know, he had to do so through boxing. He had to do so through risking his life in a violent sport, because he was otherwise considered like an outsider in this world. None of that really ended up coming to much of any compelling conclusions, I feel. Maybe we'll get it right with this. It had some good style to it. Correction. Godzilla is not the thing I'm most looking forward to. It's fucking Uzumaki is what I'm looking forward to most, because god damn it, is that just like the most wonderful combination of creators right there. I kind of figured you were Kazuya. After you immediately jumped in after asking that question. But yeah, Uzumaki, and I love the Uzumaki manga. Junji Ito's an incredibly talented dude. One of my favorite manga artists. I love horror. I love Hiroshi Nagahama, who is the director of this and was the director of Mushishi and the director of Aku no Hana, which, you know, I have a video on. I talked about Uzumaki in it a little bit too, and why I think it's a perfect match. Also, Colin Stenson, who did the music, he did the music for Hereditary, you know, the American-made horror movie, which is a really good horror movie. The trailer for this the Uzumaki is such a good trailer. I think it's wild that they're doing it in black and white too. Like, that's such a Nagahama is willing to take those risks, like visually. Like, they did rotoscoping for Aku no Hana. I like that. This is probably not going to be good for the Shut up, Genshin Impact. I want to watch this goddamn trailer. We need full screen.